On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Hunt for Red October, right? The Red October. Everything's going to be happening. We're sitting 5 days out right now from October, and I think this is going to be a very crazy October, to say the very least. Obviously, last week, RBG passed away. Today, they're finishing up her funeral. We're expecting some big news today, certainly from Trump, probably tomorrow, regarding the filling of that Supreme Court seat. But also, we were kind of promised some other things and told to watch the news. I think Q's kind of helping lead us in that direction. There are a bunch of posts that Q has come out with over the past 24 hours. Let's jump into them. Don't want to waste a lot of time. Post 4755, where we let off. Obviously, this famous slide that we've seen many, many, many times, talking about essentially the seventh floor, which is going to be very relevant here in a moment. Also have a Fox News article that leads into a lot here. So this one slide is going to be quite a bit. But, are we tracking events? Are you tracking events? We got some stuff to help with that. So the scope apparently exceeded the spy. So the spying they did, the scope of the spying supposedly was way larger than it should have been. Way larger. The scope would imply like how it's insanely large compared to what it should have been. So the question is why? Well, the seventh floor, apparently, the FBI team removed or terminated, right? So the seventh floor is no more. Which all these people got fired or terminated. Big question is that normal? And I would say probably no. Maybe they're trying to work on filling some of these. Again, is it normal that all these people were fired basically because there was a definite conspiracy that Obama was behind, that was trying to stop a duly elected president, was trying to run Flynn through the rigmarole before anything ever happened and just start really trying to create this narrative that Russia, orange man bad, and certainly did a reasonably successful job at it. What other investigations by the same team might have altered the outcomes, or if they were allowed to continue their investigations like they should have been, would that have altered outcomes? And I think that's one of the things we're going to be talking about in some of these Q posts that are coming up here shortly. So how are other investigations bridged, or how are they bridged to this illegal spy campaign? We're going to see how this rabbit hole not only was deep, but oddly, there's a lot of little connecting tunnels, little connecting areas where they seem to sort of overlap. And that creates a bit of a problem for sure. And obviously, if any one of these little pieces, kind of like a sweater and you pull that thread, if any one of these pieces kind of fell apart, it started to screw up the entire thing. And really, that is where we are today. We are seeing so much evidence that there was a definite conspiracy against the president that was duly elected, and it was done with the full force of the original Obama administration. So something very bad certainly was happening. So as they keep telling us, this is bigger than you can imagine. Frustrating to me too, I understand. But there is a reason why this particular information on this Fox News was leaked today. And that's really, I think, what the silver lining is supposed to be in all the Q posts today is stuff is supposedly moving. We're getting a hint at it. None of us are going to be, I think, satisfied with how quickly it moves. It's definitely not going to go fast enough. But stuff is in the process. So the election infection cannot stop what's coming. And what they, of course, mean is, by keeping us all locked up and all that stuff, are they going to be able to keep us locked down? No, they're not going to be able to keep us locked down at all. So let's check out the Fox News article that they referenced for us. Durham assumed parts of John Huber's Clinton Foundation review. So he started looking into some of this Clinton Foundation stuff. John Huber digging into it, investigation. It was assumed by Attorney John Durham as part of his review into the origins of the Russian probe, right? So all of this stuff kind of continued on. So in November 2017, then Attorney General Jeff Sessions directed Huber, the U.S. Attorney for Utah, and other senior prosecutors to evaluate certain issues involving the sale of Uranium One and other dealings related to the Clinton Foundation. So a lot of crazy Clinton stuff started coming forward, and is basically going to look badly towards, obviously, Hillary. I mean, again, just so much stuff is starting to come out around the Clinton investigation. And again, there's like 5 different things going on with Durham. And so it's very confusing what all's happening. But I think it kind of goes back to their point here, how there's some overlap, how there's certain things that bridged into other things, and how there's sort of this touching other aspects, right? There's a lot that kind of happened that's really crazy. So one thing that was mentioned in that previous article that Sessions directs prosecutors to evaluate certain issues involving Uranium One and Clinton, which leaves the door open on a special counsel for all that. So again, more information kind of leading around what they're attempting to do. Again, Jeff Sessions directed senior federal prosecutors to evaluate certain issues requested by the congressional Republicans involving the sale of Uranium One and alleged unlawful dealings related to the Clinton Foundation, leaving the door open for an appointment of another special counsel. Now, this article, of course, leads into this article, and this is the one where we talk about the 5 internal probes that are currently underway on this whole Russia thing. So this is kind of the one that I thought really hit home the most. So the first of the 5, the case of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Obviously, that whole case has been followed very closely. They realized that he never should have been questioned by the FBI, that the subsource was an absolute known piece of crud, and they continued to move forward with 4 FISA warrants, if you will, to try to get Flynn. Then once they dropped the charges, the judge still won't let go of Flynn. He still won't let Flynn out because the second Flynn is free, Flynn starts talking. Flynn starts saying, hey, I know where the dead bodies are at. So they can't let Flynn out no matter what. And again, I don't know how you keep him locked up any longer. The charges have been dropped. The judge is in serious trouble. The judge is definitely going to lose his license or whatever. He's going to be disbarred or whatever. Something major bad's going to happen to the judge because he's so outside of his of the law right now that it's obviously political. It's obviously someone such as Obama or whoever, I don't know. But someone obviously told him, do not drop this case no matter what you do. Now, what also is coming out? Number 2, we've got Ukraine information. Now, a lot of this seems to be focused, and Rudy Giuliani's really running with this one, but a lot of this is focused around what the son of Joe Biden is doing, right? Hunter Biden has been involved in a lot of stuff. A lot of money's changed hands. A bunch of stories have come out about that over the past number of months. So again, the second real major avenue is all the illegal stuff and all the illegal money and everything that was tied around Hunter Biden. And there seems to be a lot. So again, when you guys start to think, well, why is it taking Durham so long? Good, there's a lot going on, right? Like one thing led to another thing, led to another thing. It's like, good Lord. So number 3, Durham's probe into the origins of the Russia investigation. So really digging into what started it all. Last year, Barr appointed him to review the events leading up to the 2016 presidential election and through Trump's January 20th, 2017 inauguration. But as Fox News first reported, Durham has since expanded his investigation to cover a post-election timeline spanning the spring of 2017 when Mueller was appointed as special counsel. So again, more questions around what did Mueller do, what did he not do, and all the different stuff that went around that. Again, Durham is just, lining everything up. Number 4, FISA warrants. The Clinton server document release. So in April of 2018, the Justice Department appointed U.S. Attorney for the Northern Districts of Illinois, John Lausch, to oversee the gathering of documents in response to a subpoena issued by the House Judiciary Committee in an effort to obtain materials related to the FBI's probe into Hillary Clinton's private email server and potential Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuses. So that's the 4th thing that he's digging into is all of this stuff around her private email server, all the information that was in there, what type of stuff were they sending back and forth, how much of that was actually top secret and should not have been shared, how much of that may have been related to the back door. I still think there's some issues trying to get a hold of this actual server, and I'm sure it will somehow meet a similar fate as the cell phones of Mueller's team, as Hillary Clinton's cell phones and all these different people. Like somehow the server will probably end up with a car dropped on it or something fun like that. And so it won't really work anymore. So I guess I feel like I missed one. So that was the 4th. The foundation areas. There's 4. I guess that was 5 here. FISA warrant. Number 4, though, is the Clinton Foundation Uranium One. This is a huge deal. This one's extremely big. And for those of you that maybe don't remember what happened with Uranium One, it was something like 20% of our uranium stockpile was essentially sold to Russia, given to Russia, whatever. And it seems that there were some deals made with the Clinton Foundation and possibly Obama and some other stuff. Biden, too, probably. A lot of these guys, I think, are going to have egg on their face with this. But they essentially sold our uranium, our nuclear type stuff to Russia. Now, a lot of things are weird about that. Uranium's got telltale signs. Like you can generally tell by a smidgen of uranium which country manufactured it. pureness to it. There's certain levels to, like, there's certain things that are very telltale as to where this uranium had come from. If you take U.S. uranium and give it to somebody that maybe you don't have a lot of control of, and all of a sudden a dirty bomb is made with our uranium, boy, that could be problematic for a lot of things. So that's a big deal that's going on. Post 4756. Of course, they keep talking about Red October upcoming. I mean, a lot of people are really wondering what's happening. When are the arrests coming? What you keep telling us, you keep teasing us. You've been teasing us for months. And so there's a lot of very frustrated cubies out here that want to know what the heck is going on. So again, just to make sure we keep the references solid with the Soviet warfare, make your depth 50 feet and zero bubble. Zero dive bubble means you're not going up, you're not going down. It means the submarine's like flat, it's totally level. It's perpendicular to the surface, if you will. That's zero bubble, or zero dive bubble as they sometimes refer to it. So what they're saying is go to 50 feet. We're not going up, we're not going down. We're locked in at 50 feet. Now, 50 feet, what's significant about it? I don't know, a few things. One, I think that's real close to periscope depth, probably is within periscope depth. It's not needed. You don't need to have periscopes to be able to shoot torpedoes or missiles or any of that kind of stuff. So not really necessary. Periscopes are kind of something that aren't really used like they were back in the day. I think they still do use them, but they're nothing like they were back in like the U-boat days when you actually almost needed them to be able to fire a torpedo to even see if there was something on the surface. We've got all sorts of other equipment, the sound that boats make on the surface, like a lot of stuff. So I don't think that's the case. 50 feet's also significant because the deeper you are, the easier you are to find with active sonar. The more shallow you are, the harder you are to see with active sonar. And that's the boats that drive around and they're like, bing, bing, and that makes a loud noise and then it echoes off things. Well, those pings are usually sent down at a downward angle. And if, say, you're a few miles away, but you're sitting at 50 feet, it's going under you. That ping will never hit you because you're too horizontal from where the ping is. It's too hard to get a read on you. So it's an extremely stealthy location to have yourself. So if you're cruising at, say, 5 knots and you're at 50 feet, you're darn near invisible. And certainly, I know you can shoot like cruise missiles and stuff from deeper than 50 feet. I don't know what the max depth is, but I don't think you need to be at 50 feet either to shoot cruise missiles. Maybe you do. Maybe it's around there. But essentially, being close to the surface gives you a lot of possibilities that can make a big difference. So again, we are zero bubble. We're in an attack position, and we're in a very stealthy position. So I think they're not going to see what's coming, though they have an idea of what's coming. I don't think they're going to see it coming per se. 4757. Of course, we're back here. You can't hide from the truth. Durham is coming. And we've got this article here that talking about Durham has assumed parts of the John Huber Clinton Foundation review. Now, again, this is kind of going back where Durham is digging into the Clinton Foundation. I think most of anybody that's been following this stuff for any length of time, certainly anybody that's kind of center-leaning to right-leaning, whatever, probably have a pretty nasty taste in your mouth with the Hillary Clinton Foundation, or the Clinton Foundation. A lot of stories going way back to when they were in Arkansas as the governor, right? There's just so many horrific stories that just follow these two Clintonites wherever they go. Just very, very evil group of people. I think the Bushes were evil people. I think the Clintons were evil people. I think the Obamas were evil people. We've had a lot of evil people that seem to have managed to make it to the highest position in the land, which I think also kind of goes to that deep state concept. But there's only one way, and really what they're hinting at here, the only way we can move forward as a society, one, to have a single tier system of being in trouble, right? If you do something wrong, you break the law, then you get in trouble. There's not two justices. There's not two tiers of justice. There's one tier. And the only way you can really make this right to the American people is to actually bust the people that have broken the law that were part of that other tier. And if you can bring them down, if you can put them behind bars, then now the people, one, have proof that you're essentially working for we the people, and two, that you're definitely not deep state because now you're actually arresting deep state actors, and three, that you're not evil because you're taking down like one of the most evil people, I think, on this planet. So kind of interesting. So let the truth be told, and it really is the only way. Truth will set us free, right? So again, this great picture of the hunt is on. In the invisible war for the future of our republic, the tables are now turned, and now the hunters become the hunted. Patriots in control. Very cool stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just basically staying with that whole Red October. They've been talking about Red October every October since Q first started posting. And again, the one before the election certainly makes the most sense. So reasonably sure this coming October will be the Red October. Now, is red just, it's funny, it always makes me think of blood, which is not good. And of course, Red October makes me think of running red and having the red lights on and helps you with your night vision. So again, I'm not 100% sure where the red is, if it's just rigged for quiet, rigged for silent, rigged for dark. Maybe that's kind of it. Again, it's got that stealthy feel to it. 50 feet, zero dive bubble, kind of got that stealthy feel to it. They've showed the B-2 bomber dropping, I think they were Moabs, I think they were mother of all bombs, but they were dropping some major cruise missiles, stealthy. So again, there seems to be this kind of stealthy concept that he keeps sharing with us. 4759, this one I spent freaking forever on trying to figure out what's going on with this particular picture. So never forget those in the background. After everything I've dug into, the best I can do, one, they point out it's John Roberts, the dude from Fox, and it looks like Ruth Bader Ginsburg there. I don't think that's it. People pointed out this 909-140. I don't think that's it either. From best I can tell, what we've got, this guy here looks like Stephen Miller, I think. This guy I couldn't quite find. I think I found pictures that looked like it might have been him, but with half his face missing, it was hard to tell. This should be Dan Scavino. This should be Hope Hicks. And again, I just gave up. This is Trump, back of his head. So I don't know what's exactly going on. But the one thing that really did kind of stick with me is it's not just Trump. It's the background people. It's his helpers. It's Q. It's this Q movement. It's all of us. It is the background people that are making this possible. Now, us as Q people are helping because we're spreading the word. We're looking up stuff. We're learning about what's going on. We're getting this level of information that a lot of other people aren't getting that watch mainstream media. And on top of that, these are the people that he can trust. These are his internal trusted people. These are the people that I'm pretty sure are not going to stab him in the back or do book deals or any of that kind of stuff. So never forget those in the background. These are very important people that are helping bring this future forward and also helping to fight for us, we the people. So this, I think, is like the home team, if you will. Now, this is a very interesting post too, 4760. So we've got this technofog here, the Adam Goldman NYT report on Durham reviewing Clinton Foundation investigation. 1, agents and FBI managers seek subpoena of CF. Top DOJ criminal division officials deny the request. Now, the CF is Clinton Foundation. So first, the agents wanted a subpoena to be able to look into things. And then the top DOJ guy says, nah, you guys don't need that. That's not relevant. So the question is did Andrew Weissman deny the subpoena? And he seems to have, from some of the information that we're about to look at. In 2016, he led the fraud section. Well, isn't that interesting? He led the fraud section, and we've got a little document that kind of spells it out a little better. And he apparently wasn't too hip on, looking for fraud. He didn't find that to be necessary. So that's kind of interesting. We'll look at that in just a second. Now, the other thing that pops up in here, timing can be derived from the picture. Anons have always known, have faith in your research. This is very interesting. So we've got up here, we've got agents, FBI managers seek subpoena for the Clinton Foundation. Top DOJ criminal division officials deny the request. Then we get this hint. What is this picture? What is that picture? Well, when you go to TinEye and you actually drop the picture in there, you notice it's come up 3 different times. The first time it popped up was November 26th, 2018. Where was it, you ask? That's a great question. Mystery as DOJ and FBI land a 757 jet in Clinton's hometown, Little Rock, Arkansas, loaded with boxes and documents. You think maybe they have the documents that they tried to get in a warrant that they got denied? Do you think maybe that's what Q's saying is, hey, don't worry, we got the documents, even though this jerkhole never, ever let this work out for us? So again, just to look at the specific information, top officials in Justice Department Criminal Division denied a request in 2016 from senior FBI managers in Washington to secure a subpoena, determining that the Bureau lacked a sufficient basis for it and that the book had a political agenda, former officials said. Some prosecutors at the time felt the book had been discredited. Not 100% sure which book, doesn't matter. The decision frustrated some agents who believed they had enough evidence beyond the book, including a discussion that touched on the foundation and was captured on a wiretap in an unrelated investigation. So again, things are looking a little interesting. But right here, Andrew Weissman, as stated above, this guidance applies only to the fraud section's FCPA unit during the term of this pilot program. It does not apply to any other part of the fraud section, the criminal division, the United States Attorney's Office, and any other of the Department of Justice or any other agency. So did he block it? Yes. But what is the one silver lining, I guess, that popped into my head? And I'm just an eternal optimist, so maybe that's part of the problem. But it says right here, it does not apply to any other part of the fraud section. So there could be some other sections of fraud that are still okay. But it also doesn't cover the criminal division and the United States Attorney's offices and any other part of the Department of Justice, which to me seems like it's sort of an indication that, hey, you can get this in a different way or a different avenue, but I'm not going to help you out. So, of course, he's probably going to get in his own little set of trouble around that, which is fine. So the FBI is probing this Clinton Foundation corruption claim. So it's unclear when or why the probe began, but the sources told the Associated Press it has been ongoing for several months, with prosecutors and FBI agents taking the lead from their offices in Little Rock, Arkansas, where the foundation has offices. A lot of information's coming out right here. Public corruption prosecutors in Washington expressed disinterest in working with the FBI on a Clinton Foundation-related investigation in 2016, saying they had concerns about the strength of the FBI's evidence. 2016, strength of the FBI's evidence. The same people that made up information, that took made up information, that tried to railroad Flynn, and certainly started 4 different FISA warrants that were completely unethical, certainly didn't have any information that was legitimate, and were all lies. But for some reason, this case where they got some evidence pointing to the Clinton Foundation, oh, no, we won't do that. But we'll run forever and spy on a president with flimsy at best information. But no, not there, not you, not allowed. 4761, another Twitter post from Donald Trump, tracking events. They keep kind of hinting at us. So Trump was right. Explosive new FBI text detail internal furor over handling of Crossfire hurricane investigations. Newly disclosed internal FBI notes and text messages detail the extent of the FBI's desire to take down Trump and his associates at any cost. The information is out there. And this is where it starts to get really interesting. Trump was right. Explosive new FBI text detail internal furor, blah, blah, blah. Right? They just replayed the same thing. And we've got a lot of information in here where they're talking back and forth, and they're like, hey, is one of the worst offenders in the rabbit holes, conspiracy theories. This guy traveled with that guy who put down third guy as his visa sponsor. Third guy lives near Navy, right? Just yada, yada, yada. Got some redacted. That's not right, but the names are blocked out, right? Redacted, thank you. And again, you can see some of the comments and all that. So good stuff. But what I really got to that I thought was interesting was this very, very bottom part. That I thought kind of spelled it out really well. This last few paragraphs. So to date, not a single person has been charged with illegally leaking that information to the Washington Post as a way of damaging Flynn and the incoming Trump administration. So that was one of the big things is how did the Washington Post get all this information about Flynn? They're pretty sure from the text messages that it was shared from someone within the White House. So the White House is very much getting pointed out even further. So following a review of the federal government's investigation by U.S. Attorney Jeff Jensen, which was ordered by Attorney General William Barr, the government moved to dismiss all charges against Flynn that had been previously brought by former special counsel Robert Mueller. Documents unearthed during Jensen's review showed that before the FBI was tasked by the Obama White House in early 2017 with retargeting Flynn, the agency closed a previous investigation against him because there was no proof of any criminal wrongdoing. Jensen's review also uncovered evidence that the FBI's interview of Flynn, which later led to charges that he lied to the FBI investigators, had no legal basis, and that the FBI agents who interviewed Flynn did not believe that he had lied. Contrary to claims by Mueller's office that Flynn had lied about discussing financial sanctions against Russia during post-election phone calls with Russian ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak, Declassified transcripts of those conversations confirm that Flynn spoke to Kislyak only about expulsion of Russian diplomats and that the two men never discussed financial sanctions against Russia that had previously been levied by the Obama administration. Jensen's review of Flynn's case file also revealed handwritten notes from the FBI's top counterintelligence officials that admitted a primary goal of the FBI anti-Flynn operation was to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired. That's railroading. That's against the law. Despite the overwhelming evidence that Flynn did not lie to agents, the FBI had no legal basis to interview him, that the FBI later hid exculpatory documents from Flynn's defense team. Flynn did not discuss financial sanctions during his phone call with Kislyak, and the FBI agents who interviewed Flynn did not believe he lied. Federal trial Judge Emmett G. Sullivan has refused to dismiss the case against Flynn. This reeks of deep state with a deep stank is what's going on. So instead, Sullivan personally appointed a left-wing shadow prosecutor whose partners represented former DOJ officials Yates to smear Flynn and attempt to continue the baseless criminal case against him. At one point last April, Sullivan even tried to order the DOJ to stop producing and publicly filing exculpatory evidence for Flynn or evidence of FBI's misbehavior during an investigation of Flynn. Sullivan, who called Flynn a traitor during court proceedings and suggested that Flynn, a decorated Army combat veteran, be charged with treason, has refused to recuse himself from the case despite his obvious personal animosity towards Flynn. A lot of information is coming out. Now, is that enough to just bust people and arrest people? No, not yet. But a lot of information's coming out. Durham's wrapping this stuff up. He's apparently leaking a little information out because, frankly, he knows a lot of us are getting frustrated waiting for this all to happen. Post 4762, this is an interesting one as well. Not long now. What's really interesting is the third star. The stars have been a big significant thing. I would have pulled them up. We got so many damn slides as it is. There's too many. But there was the single star, the double star, the triple star. It seemed like it was counting up. It seemed like it was referencing different people. It seemed like 3 stars was referencing Flynn. So in this case, maybe Flynn's going to be free, and it's not long now. Maybe this is the third star in the countdown. It's not long until something happens. Maybe it's all the above. Maybe the third star is the final step of the thing. Who knows? But there's a lot of implications I go around the 3 star, and the fact that they're saying not long now, probably something is coming up. Now, I will say, and I don't know if I've already passed the information or if I'm going to end up rereading it to you, but there is suspicion that this may not happen till after the election. That there is a little concern with Durham that this may come across as being a partisan job or a partisan hack job, if you will, if all this information comes out like during October. Now, what will come out during October? I think there's going to be a lot of stuff. I think it'll be stuff that tends to slant towards Hunter Biden, tarnishing Biden himself and certainly making that difficult. And maybe that'll be where he drops out. I think it's also going to create some major problems for the Obama administration, which also means if they're planning on bringing Michelle Obama in to run for Biden instead, then there's already a tarnish or a mark against their name. And I think a lot of people would assume if Michelle Obama was the president, Barack Obama is going to be very involved with everything that's happening. So a lot of questions around that as well. Be interesting to see how things play out. The other side of it is maybe they bring in Hillary, but frankly, Hillary's so freaking hated. I don't think she could win. She didn't win the first time when they were cheating back in 2016. I don't think she has a chance to win without cheating now. And she's just, so many people, including myself, just don't like her. She's just not a likable person, and her voice drives me insane. Anyway, 4763, got another Technofog post here. These people are stupid. I really like to say that. I don't like using the word stupid. I think it's pretty harsh, and I also don't think it's a good idea to underestimate your enemy. Frankly, I don't think they're as stupid as one might think, but they do still seem to think they're in charge, even though they don't seem to be. So arrogance may be more than stupid, but whatever. So one thing, a little play on words, which is pretty cool. Pandemic, and what they're calling that instead is Dem Panic, which is kind of funny, right? I think so anyway. So Technofog, new Flynn docs. So glad they're closing Razor. Disagreement with getting Flynn's financials? We didn't find anything. This investigation is a nightmare. After Obama's White House meeting, Razor is going to stay open. So again, Obama basically said, no, keep Razor open. Strzok has even got a text message saying, no, keep Razor open. So again, Razor had nothing going on, and they were still going about things in kind of an incorrect kind of way. So they're talking about these NSLs, which is a national security letter or something like that. And normally, that's not how they get information from somebody when it comes to their finances and all that kind of stuff. But apparently, that is what they did to Flynn. And these NSLs, I guess, just aren't showing up like they're supposed to. A lot of people are saying how they don't think they're going to do any good. Agreed, we didn't find anything else from the investigation about him. It's a logical investigative step, but now it is not. We put out traces, tripwires to community, and nothing. Bingo. So what's an NSL going to do? No content. Anyways, hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Haha, this is a nightmare. There you go. These are the people that are trying to take down a duly elected president and a 3-star general, patriot of this wonderful country. So again, more dirt on their face. Technofog's doing a great job pointing all this stuff out. What's he sharing on this guy here? So these very top ones, we all went and purchased professional liability insurance. Holy crap. All the analysts too? Yep. Do they help reimburse you? Oh, that's where I was reading that one earlier. So yeah, so they all got insurance to basically deal with all the illegal stuff they're doing. They basically lawyered up is another way to look at that. So 4764, Midnight Riders Ride. Information warfare. Now this one was posted pretty late in the night, I guess, 6:15 p.m., wherever that time frame is. I don't know if it's Eastern or what. But the fact is basically I think it was one of the last posts before he was closing out for the day, because that was kind of where I had myself leaving off. And then suddenly this morning we got some more posts. So again, I think he's telling people, hey, here's a bunch of information. Midnight Riders, I need you to dig into this. I need you to find the little gobs of information and then share it with the world. And then today we got some more posts, 4765, an awesome little picture here. And referencing this, The Last of the Mohicans soundtrack, again, promontory, which I guess a lot of Marines and other armed forces individuals have listened to this, maybe on their way to a drop zone or something along those lines. Supposedly this movie's got a lot of significance to a lot of people, so it's kind of a oorah kind of moment for a lot of people. I don't know per se. This one is, for me, an oorah kind of moment, seeing a dude holding on to the American flag as he's flying over what very much looks like the desert, probably in the Middle East. I don't know. Could be out here, but that looks Middle Easty. That being said, very powerful moment here. Very powerful photograph, probably out of the back of a C-130 is my guess, but not 100% sure. Could be a helicopter maybe. Hard to say. You guys know better than I do. I haven't been in the back of a C-130. I think I've walked through a Chinook once. Might be that. Who knows? 4766, we got another Fox News post here. This one's a fun little slide. So, designates the KKK and Antifa as terrorist organizations. Let's go ahead and jump in this part first. So Trump, he's a $500 billion Black America plan. He designates the KKK and the Antifa as terrorist organizations. This is a big deal. And so apparently Trump shared or linked or leaked, whatever, this whole new plan that he's got. And so the Platinum Plan, as he's calling it, is opportunities, going to achieve historic employment level for Black Americans, security by signing into law the celebrated First Step Act. President Trump has brought common sense criminal justice reform to the American people. Prosperity as the first president to provide long-term funding to historically Black colleges and universities. Fairness, as demonstrated through his actions to initiate investment into opportunity zones, as well as address health disparities, wage gaps, etc. So President Trump's got a promise here. 3 million new jobs for Black community, creating 500,000 new Black-owned businesses, increase access to capital in Black communities by almost $500 billion, give Black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their community, bring better and tailored health care to address historic disparities, immigration policies that protects American jobs. And that's one of the things, too, that's been seen before, is bringing in a lot of these illegal immigrants that tend to work lower wage jobs. We're actually pushing some of the Black community out of legitimate jobs and making it harder for them to get jobs, because the Black community wanted to get a living wage, a fair wage. And unfortunately, people that are illegal tend to work for either a minimum wage or in some cases even under that, which is not cool for them either. That's exploitation on two different sides. So Trump's trying to do something about it. He's trying to increase jobs. He's trying to make things affordable so they can get into houses and stuff. He's trying to fuel access for capital, safe streets, which I think all of us want, prosperous Black communities, which is a major, major thing to help these communities get themselves out of the crazy that they're in. And of course, education that African Americans can choose and education African Americans can afford. All of these things are very, very good things. And of course, it states that it will prosecute the KKK and Antifa as terrorist organizations and make lynching a national hate crime. That part caught me as interesting. Make lynching a national hate crime. That was Cory Booker and Kamala Harris that were trying to do that back when Jesse Smollett had his little incident. I don't know if you guys remember him, the guy out in Chicago that put the noose around his neck and said he went down to Subway at like 2 a.m. on a freezing cold night. And somehow this happened from a guy that just jumped out of a car and said MAGA and then poured bleach on him. And it's stupid. So they were trying to pass a non-lynching law back then. There was a lot of speculation that suggested that had to do with the fact that if you're treasonous to the United States, that hanging by your neck might very well be a response to that. Hard to say where exactly all that's going. But again, a lot of information kind of buried within that one news article. So again, he designates the KKK and Antifa as terrorist organizations. Also, two defounded, so both these groups, KKK and Antifa, are both Democrat founded. Do me a favor, I've said it many times. Type in your browser antifa.com and watch what pulls up. Watch who pulls up. It's not Antifa's website. It seems to redirect immediately to Joe Biden. Why is that? Something that people should probably consider looking into. And the KKK, I mean, if any of you guys are listening to my videos, man, I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. I think you're extremists. You're a little bit on the crazy side. No offense. I mean, you might be nice people if I talk to you outside of it, but as a group, you're dangerous. And I don't approve of any of the things you do. There's absolutely no white is right, none of that crap. We are all equal in God's eyes. All of us were born equal under God's eyes. Black, brown, purple, green, yellow, it doesn't matter. We're all human beings. We're all human. You cut any of us, we bleed red. That's how it works, right? Some of us bleed red, white, and blue, but that's different. So again, financially, legally backed orgs. DA set free blockade post-terrorist designation. So what they're talking about here is now that Trump is going to call these guys terrorists, the DA, the district attorney, he's going to try to set free all of these people, right? He's going to try to create a blockade. He's going to try to keep these people from being busted. DA is also going to try to keep these no proof that these individuals were linked to Antifa argument going, right? The DA is going to say, hey, I've got no proof that this is the case. What this phrase right here says to me is, not true, that the DOJ definitely knows who Antifa is. They've been mapping them since, 2018? Or they very, very much know who these people are. So this no proof thing's a crock. And I think we're going to start to see people get in trouble because of that information. Post 4767, some will take the easy path and exit early. This is something I want to see you guys pay attention to as well. Senator Graham is kind of interesting, Lindsey Graham, and we'll see what happens. And I don't know if this is an example or not, but he's one of the ones I wonder what side of the fence he's truly on. And I think he's dragged his foot to prosecute some stuff, but he talks a mean game when he gets on Fox, so it's hard to say. But he's having a hard time right now, one, raising money. I mean, he might lose his reelection. So again, if you're pro-Lindsey, maybe look at, lindseygraham.com or whatever the heck, if you want to donate to him and help out, okay. Or is that what's happening? Are we seeing someone take the easy path? Or I don't know. And so we're going to see how some of these things play. That's just one example. But certainly we're going to see politicians that don't get reelected. We're going to see politicians that will drop out for family reasons. We'll see politicians that will drop out for health reasons. These reasons will pop up. They'll seem innocuous. This will be why. Instead of risking all the dirt that they've got, all the Epstein records that exist, they might just say, hey, look, I'm going to get out of your guys' way. Just please don't trash me in the process. And there's probably some agreements that are going to be going along those lines. So we'll see how that plays out. 4768, judgment is coming. Now, I love seeing this. At the same time, like you guys, I cringe when I see it because it's like I've only read that 85 times, Q. I want to see the judgment badly. I think all of us do. We want to see these people get what they deserve. We want justice to be blind, like the blindfolded version of her says, right? We want that to be the case. We haven't seen it yet. We've seen a lot of talk, seen a lot of rhetoric, seen a lot of people talking about stuff, getting in front of cameras, right? But where's the action? I don't know. We're waiting, but I think we're getting a hint. Some stuff I think is going to drop in October. It's probably going to have to be very careful what they drop because think about it. If it's too heavily political, the left is going to go just ape, you know what, ape S. They're going to go crazy all over the place. It's not going to work out for us. But they're going to leak stuff that's meant to kind of show the truth, start to hint towards the truth, and will probably speak poorly to some of the people that are currently running for president. And so we'll see how that plays out as well. Again, judgment is coming. Just keep these people in our prayers. Let's thank you, God, for helping us get to this place, because that's where we're trying to get to. We're all fighting together on this one. Where we go one, we go all. You know what I mean? 4769. Got another Twitter post. Worth remembering. Think what you know now. What you now know. All right. So this is kind of an interesting little post that actually just popped up. But think of what you know now. So it was all lies. No treason. No spying on the campaign. No tapping Trump's wires. It was just good people trying to protect America. So we got this whole opinion poll that popped up here. Opinion piece from the Washington Post. James Comey is a former director, blah, blah, blah. For 2 years, the president of the United States and his followers have loudly declared that the FBI acted unlawfully in conducting counterintelligence investigations of Russia interference in the 2016 presidential campaign. They repeatedly told the American people that the FBI had done all sorts of bad things, such as tapping Donald Trump's wires during the campaign, opening an investigation without adequate cause, with the intent to damage Trump, and inserting secret informants into Trump's campaign, blah-de-dee, blah-de-dee, blah. Now, this opinion piece from the Washington Post, which of course is such a name we can trust, came out December 9th, 2019. Almost a year ago, folks. Almost a year ago, they put this piece out before we knew all the other stuff we've come to find this year. Think about how much information we now know relative to what we didn't know back in December of last year. So it's totally what they're talking about on this particular case. Corny, it's time for you, buddy, to be harvested, because you're going down. You and Brennan supposedly are the two big names that we are expecting to see. That would make sense before the election. That would be enormous to really boost Trump's base. You bring these two bastages down, and you're going to see so many people pull their hands up in the air and say, yes, this is finally happening. Two of the big fish are finally taking a bite. Because right now, we've just got that Kleinsmith dude who's just a stupid lawyer that changed an email. Easy stuff, probably really hard to even lose that case. The heavy cases, I hope, are coming. We're going to see how that plays. We just got our newest post here, 4769, so there's nothing else. This is the extent of where we're at. More posts are coming. Keep your eyes open. If you see something, say something. Be cautious. Be protecting your communities. Make sure you've got your earthquake kits and all your supplies backed up and ready to go. I still think we've got one more little crazy moment going to come in the near future that maybe there's going to be a run on stores. Just make sure you got stuff and you're prepared for all of this. Again, where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.